Hi students, today we're going to learn how you put a mat, also known as a frame, around your artwork when you're finished. Okay, this is to always be done when you do drawings. First thing you're going to do is you're going to actually measure the outside edges of your paper. So for example, this paper is 9 inches wide, and you're going to want to write that down somewhere. And then you're going to measure the height, and this paper is 12 inches high. Okay, so that is the paper measurements of my artwork. Alright, because I'm going to be creating a frame that goes around the edge of the artwork, I need to account for an area where I'm going to tape, which we're going to account for about a ½ inch. So in order to account for that ½ inch, what we need to do to the measurements we found of our paper is actually subtract 1/2 from both of our measurements. So that's a simple math problem. 9 minus 1/2 is of course 8.5, and then 12 minus 1/2 is 11.5. Okay. So those are the measurements that I want to start with. Because we are creating a frame the whole way around our artwork that is going to be 2 inches wide, so I'm going to have 2 inches over here, I'm going to have 2 inches over here, and because of that, 2 plus 2 is 4, and it's going to be the same thing on the height as well. I'm going to have 2 inches here and 2 inches at the bottom, and 2 plus 2 is 4. I'm actually going to add 4, which is also another simple math equation. 8.5 plus 4 is 12.5. 11.5 plus 4 is 15.5. Okay. Now I have the measurements for what I'm going to cut out my paper using the paper cutter. Alright, now that we have our measurements, it's time to go to the cutting board and cut our paper out. So as you can remember, our measurements were 12.5 by 15.5, and you're going to need to decide if you want to frame your work in black paper or in white. So if you take a look at the paper cutter, you can see that it's set up in 1/4 inches. So here's the 12, here's 12.25, 12.5, and then there's 13. So I'm cutting at 12.5, so I want to line my paper up right with that line here. And then I want to take and pull the blade down, making sure my hands are free of the blade. And then my next measurement was 15.5, so I want to find between 15 and 16, line it up right with that line, and cut. And now my paper is the correct size for my mat. Over here to the mat cutter, and what this is going to do is this is going to cut the inside of your paper out. Okay, in order to do that, you need to slide the blade down, lift up, insert your paper up against the metal part and up against the black part right into the corner. Lower, watch your hand, and what you're going to do is take a pencil and you're going to draw four lines here. What this is going to do is put that 2-inch frame around your work. Once you have all 4 sides drawn, it's time to move that blade back over, and you're going to cut from line to line, not cutting all the way through. So this thing moves up and down. You're going to push the blade into the corner, and you're going to hold until you get to the line. What this is going to do is cut out the inside of the paper, leaving you with the frame. So then turn your paper to the next line. Until all 4 sides are cut. Lift up, and this paper on the inside should just pop right out. And this will be the frame that will then go around your drawing. The last part of this process is to make the backing board fit before we tape it all together. So in order to do that, 12.5 by 15.5, we're going to make this 1/2 inch smaller than our mat. So we're going to subtract 1/2 inch, which would give us 12 by 15. So just take 1/2 inch off both your measurements, and that's what you're going to cut out the piece of cardboard to be. I'm going to go ahead and cut that now, making sure I line everything up correctly with my measurements here at the top of the ruler. The thing you're going to do to put this together is line up your cardboard and your mat, and you're going to create a hinge. Make sure your pencil marks are up so when we fold it over we don't see them. And go ahead and put some tape right along there. And then it should fold down. And now you have an area to put your drawing in. Get your drawing all lined up. Make sure you can't see any of the edges or the cardboard behind it. And then you're going to go ahead and tape the corners of your drawing down so it stays nice and flat. Do that at the bottom corners and the top corners as well. Fold down. It fits perfectly. Flip it on the back. Now you're going to tape all along your edges. That is why we made the mat 1/2 inch smaller than the mat itself, the backboard, so that we actually have some room to tape. And once that's all taped down and secure, you are finished and you have a professionally matted drawing.